Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 8 in the Art of Wedding Photography course, our final lesson guys. Well look, you are here with Caroline Callahan and the course is brought to you by Shaw Academy. Now before I start into tonight's lesson, I just want to give you a reminder that your final assignment is now available in your student login area. For anybody who wishes to do this assignment, you will be required to get a 70% passing grade. Now, like I say, guys, if you have been doing the mini assignments, this will be absolutely fine for you. And for everybody who successfully passes a final assignment, you will then gain your diploma in wedding photography. If you want to do this, you must pay before starting the assignment and you will be prompted to do so before you can access that. Now we have a couple of different options, so do take a look to see which one you think is right for you. And you can see an example of the beautiful diploma that I have on screen there. Really, really good for displaying in your office or your home, and certainly you know your mother would be very proud of you. The diploma, it is really important because it does actually allow a lot of companies or potential clients to validate your qualification here with us. They'll see you've made the effort to learn about the subject and better your skills. Now, I just want to explain where the admin fee comes from. We are contacted all of the time from different employers and we have to answer their questions about our students. So we have to fill out a proof of attendance forms and grade students who've scored in the assignment, and it does take up quite a lot of our time. So we must charge an admin fee for this service. It's becoming a big part of what we do here. So we do hope you can understand why, but certainly we do believe the certificate is absolutely worth it. Now there is an option for digital PDFs, or if you want a hard copy, we can organise that for you too. But like I say, just have a look at the options and decide which one is your preference. Okay, just to give you a quick recap before we start into our lesson. So lesson 7 was all about the post-wedding workflow or your post-wedding production. So we started looking at how to manage your files, and we moved on quickly and we started talking about renaming your files and how you can use batch processing to streamline a lot of your workflow. And we then finished up by looking at some examples of post-production and editing techniques you can apply to your images, and we've seen a few before and after examples so you can see exactly the potential within your images. Well, okay, tonight's lesson we're going to be taking a look at how you might present the final images to your wedding clients for the first time. Now there is quite a few different options for you here, so I'm going to take a look at some of the more popular ways to do this. So from here we'll take a look at some of the many wedding products that are out there that you could be selling to your clients. We'll have a look at some of the more common wedding albums and different suppliers amongst a few others. We'll finish up by talking about a few tips for helping you to select the best suppliers. And as usual, I do like to put it all into perspective in terms of how it fits into your photography education. And look, at this point, I really want you to just stop and think about everything else that we have covered in this course. So, think about how much work you will have put into meeting your clients before the wedding day, all that pre-wedding organisation, and then of course all the work on the actual wedding day itself, and finally all the editing that you have done to the image. At this point, it's really important not to sell yourself short by sloppy presentation. But remember, it is also a very exciting time for the wedding couple. Just think, now their big day is over. They've probably come back from their honeymoon, and there's very little else for them to really look forward to except these photos. Now, some photographers, they may have an all-inclusive package that clients will pay for right at the beginning. However, I think, to be honest, even those photographers will still expect their clients to go for a few extras after the big day. And very often this can actually be your profit maker. However, you do also want to be able to offer your clients the best products that are out there. Very often clients, they just might not be aware of half the options or half the products they could go for. Or, if you let them do it themselves, they're naturally going to go for the cheapest option, which is very often not actually very good quality. But how nice would it be to make a decent amount of money from doing something that you love? I mean, I really think, I'm sure majority of you doing this course, you'd have to presume you do have a love of photography. And honestly, I mean, it will certainly reach the point where you'll realize the expense in being a photographer. Now, you probably already have, and that expense, it just can't be supported unless you are earning some money from this. So I mean, as well, weddings, they can be incredibly long days and a lot of hard work, and actually, they take all levels of different skills to do well. And people should appreciate this, and very often they are actually willing to pay when they see how good your work is. At the end of the day, this is one of the few things that couples having a wedding will have to show after spending thousands and thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, on their wedding day. But okay, the first thing that you need to figure out is how are you going to show the wedding couple their images. I mean, there is a few very popular ways to do this. But first up, I always like to give the wedding couples a little bit of a teaser as soon after the wedding as possible. And I'll pick one of my favourite images from the day and I'll upload it to Facebook, and I might have a little comment saying, currently editing Kira and Alan's wedding, don't they look amazing? Or such a beautiful day, anything like that at all. So if if there's any way I can really personalize a comment, well then I will, and I'll tag them in the image. And this really helps build excitement for the couple. And once they see it, number one, they're delighted to see the images, but they're also excited to see that their images are being edited, and therefore they're going to see the rest of them really, really soon. Now, from your perspective, it's driving traffic to your Facebook page and it keeps your news feed looking busy. From here on in, you might decide to upload the images to a client's very own online gallery. Now, this would usually be password protected so the clients can choose who they want to share it with. Or you might send them a disc or a USB stick with all of their images. You may decide to do a slideshow for them, or you may decide to give them a contact sheet or an order book of all of their images. Now, I'm going to obviously talk about all of the pros and cons in relation to each one of these, and we can expand on exactly what's involved with them. Before I start talking about how you can present your work to clients, I just want to talk about a few practical things that may influence your decision and how you will do this. Firstly, what facilities do you actually have? And how much are you willing to invest in this? It's all well and good deciding to invest in a projector or a large LCD screen if you want to do slideshows for your clients, but do you have the space to host a viewing of the images? And if not, well then maybe an online gallery might be a better option for you. Are you doing an album? Do you need to sit down and spend time with the clients, helping them to choose their images? Or are you just happy to let them do it themselves? Do you want the opportunity to upsell? And by upsell, I just mean, do you want the chance to sell more to your clients? And I really, really think the majority of you should be saying yes to this. However, I know if you're pretty happy with your pre-wedding sale, maybe you do have a pretty inclusive package, then maybe you don't actually need to worry about this. Or maybe you're really confident your work sells itself. Maybe you're just already too busy to be spending the time doing this. What kind of a workflow do you have, and what turnaround time do you want? And this is especially important if you are doing albums. At what point do you get paid? Is it only on the completion of the album? And obviously, I really don't recommend this, but some people might do this. But look, I've worked with some photographers who were happy to just send a CD of all the images out to their clients and let them get back to the photographer whenever it suited them. And then I've worked with other photographers who really wanted all of this to be wrapped up within 2 to 3 months. Now, personally, I do think there has to be a bit of a happy medium and I guess a bit of flexibility from yourself, but I certainly would be inclined to push for sooner rather than later. And there is a few reasons for this. Number one, it can really mess with your workflow if everybody forgets about choosing their albums up until about 2 months before Christmas, for example. That can become really unmanageable and more stressful for you, and you're not going to be able to deliver for all of your clients, and that's basically going to lead to disappointment for them. Now, if you have any balance owing on their albums, it also becomes hard to predict when you'll have the money coming in. But lastly, if you have a client that comes back, if they're waiting a year before they come back to you with their choices for their album, and I promise you, it might sound crazy, but it really, really does happen. I've seen people come back after 2 or 3 years. Now, obviously, you know, at that point you're probably going to be paying more for their wedding album because your suppliers, they generally will increase their prices each year, so you do really need to take that into consideration. At the end of the day, that's taken away from your profits. But look, we'll move on and we'll be talking about these different points in relation to the different presentation options. Okay, so an online gallery for your clients. Now, personally, I really like having this as a resource, and I think it'll probably be safe to say majority of photographers would agree with me on that. And look, we did talk about this when you're setting up your website. A lot of websites that you can buy, they'll have the option of having a client gallery that's password protected. So that's well worth looking into. And remember, once you've given your clients these logins, they're then able to pass these on to each of their family members, and probably the bridal parties and close friends as well. And that basically is going to drive a lot of traffic to your website. Now, with any luck, all those people will start becoming curious about your work, and they may have a good look around your website and decide, actually, I want to hire you for my family shoot or for their own wedding, whatever it is. And remember, you really should be getting referrals from each wedding, and you want to make it as easy as possible for people to see your work and what else you do. Very importantly, it's a very quick way to get images to your clients as well. And do keep in mind, a very common problem or a very common complaint about photographers is how long it can take to get photos back from them. So I do find this a very easy and a very quick way to let your clients see their images. Now, a lot of you starting off, you may only be doing images on a disc or a USB stick for your clients. So a few of you might say, why should I do this at all? Or are you not giving away all of your images and ruining your chance of an upsell? And honestly, yes, you are. Like, you're taking a big chance. A lot of people, they will go off, they might design their own wedding albums and they might get their own prints done up. However, unfortunately, I think so many photographers are doing this, they are giving this away, that it is pretty much expected as standard from a lot of clients. And I certainly think starting out, I just think unfortunately you may not get enough work if you refuse to do this. However, it's definitely well worthwhile testing. Honestly, if you are still clever enough with your sales, and if you really emphasize the quality of professional albums, the longevity of them, and all the editing work that you do, the service, all that kind of stuff, people will still buy from you. But it's a very practical way of getting high resolution images to your clients. And it is nice for them to have a physical copy of a disc or a USB stick, which, it's better than just giving them a link to the files online. It's also going to give them time and give them a chance to go through their images at home in their own time. Now, in all honesty, that's actually a good and a bad thing. It does save you from having to sit down with your clients and potentially spending hours helping them choose their images. However, it does mean they don't have much urgency to get their image choices to you if you are doing an album for them. Now, some couples are absolutely fantastic and they're really eager. They'll get their choices to you really quickly, but plenty of people just let life get in the way and they can actually take months to get back to you. But guys, if you are doing this, don't just throw the images onto any old CD and into any old case. I still really love to see these being personalised. And what you see on screen, it's a simple enough case, but it does look really good. Now, you could incorporate these into a lovely keepsake box, which I have seen quite a few suppliers do. And of course, you can get boxes like these for USB sticks as well. Okay, so if we compare that with the option of bringing your clients into your own workspace and doing a viewing of the images with them. Now, to be fair, if you do have a portable projector, you could go to them, or even just putting the slideshow on a USB stick. If they have a TV that you can play it off, that can work quite well too. But look, I guess with this, the good thing about it is that you can really, really create an event out of it. So you can really build the excitement for the couples. You can show them the images large, which everybody absolutely loves to see. And you can invite any of their family, or you can tell them to invite any of their family or close friends, which again is going to help with all this excitement. And you will have a better chance of upselling to them and their families if they come to your workspace. Once they see the images, if they've made any kind of comment about wanting that for the living room, you can easily say to them, oh, well, look, I've got a beautiful range of frames or canvases we can do up for you. And again, if you have samples you can show them, it will really, really help you sell more to them. However, there is obviously a few downsides as well. Number one, I would say arranging a time for a number of people to come in can be hard. The more people, obviously, the harder it is. So generally what I would do is maybe arrange a time with the couple before the wedding even takes place. And if they can lock that date in early enough, they will stick to it. And then I'll tell them, let your family know they're more than welcome to come along to this. It can take quite a lot of time to go through all of the images with the couple. They will need quite a few hours to go through all of their images, so it is quite a big time investment from your part. And you may need to invest in even more equipment. You might need a decent projector, a decent screen, or maybe even just a good quality LCD TV would be even better again. But look, you may need to invest in a viewing room or a space as well to host this. Now you can offer to go to their place and set it up there too, but then you are relying on them having a decent space for it, and it's even more of your time. Now guys, one thing I have heard of is photographers setting up slideshows during the evening reception. Now personally, I would find this absolutely hectic. I just think the day is busy enough, and my preference would be, if I'm there, I'd prefer to be concentrating on taking photographs. But if you do have a good second photographer who could maybe take out the time to do a quick edit of the photos, maybe they can do that during the meal. It could be very popular, and it certainly means all the guests get to see the photos as well. But I do really, really think you have to be quite brave and very organised to do that. Okay, now some people, they might still be given the images in an album, also known as a contact sheet book or an order book. And I guess the one benefit of this is that it's a nice way to give all of your clients a print of each of their photos. Now they'd only be small prints, like it might only be like 3 by 5 inches, and it'll have the print number on it. But some clients do still quite like to have something like this. Like I say, there'd be an image number under each image, so it's easy for clients to choose images for their albums or any additional prints they may want. And now, to be honest, I don't dislike this way of doing it, but honestly, I just think if you're giving a disc or a USB stick with files or even an online gallery, they're going to have the reference to their numbers in a way that they can show off to plenty of people. So rather than a physical book that they're not as likely to carry around, it's just not going to be as likely to be as seen by as many people than what an online gallery would be. So I think you're leaving yourself with less chance of referrals. However, it could be quite a nice one to add as an addition to a package. So I really think all of these products that I'm talking about today, I want you to be thinking about how you can build a package for your clients. So maybe you have an entry level package that only has a disc of images, and then maybe you have a few different album choices. So somebody might want to go for a basic enough album, or maybe they want to go for the complete package where they literally get coverage for the entire day. They might want an online gallery. They might want a contact sheet book as well. And they might get a USB stick with all of their images as well as an album. So it's just a way to build up your packages. And this could be a nice one to add into something like that. Okay, so guys, let's actually start looking at some of the products you can be offering your clients. And firstly, we'll look at the wedding album, because obviously that's an absolute classic. Now, starting off, and maybe even as your career progresses, you might find that you're doing weddings which are disc only or USB stick only, and so there might not be any album included. And if you're happy with this and it's what your clients want, well, then that's absolutely fine. However, I do absolutely love wedding albums. At the end of the day, they've potentially spent thousands or even tens of thousands on their wedding day. And the photos are all that remains of this. They might have a wedding dress that's gone up into the attic, but really the photos are going to be the main thing that they have. And I really, really want my clients to understand the importance of this. Yes, they may only end up taking it out maybe once a year, but it is such a beautiful memento to have from the day. And it's a beautiful heirloom to pass on to their kids. And I certainly remember taking out my parents' album all of the time. So I just really, really think, why shouldn't they invest in something like this? And yes, I do know your albums will probably be more expensive than if they just get a cheap deal online. But look, they're absolutely not going to be as good quality. And if this is to be an heirloom, it has to have longevity, and you do only get that with higher quality. If they get you to do this album for them as well, they're going to have either yourself or a designer design the album for them too. And do not underestimate the difference this can make to an album, okay? Modern albums, they can have so much design potential, but to be honest, your everyday person, a lot of people, they won't understand this. And remember, not everybody is visual. I don't mean to be harsh, but not everybody is. So when you think about it, if they go and get a cheap album, they design it themselves online, and then they go around showing this to their friends or family, they're not, they're now basically showing off your hard work in a kind of a substandard way, to be quite honest. Again, I know it might sound harsh, but it is kind of true in most cases. Now, I know very often you will have to concede. This, it does happen quite a lot, but I am very proud of my work, and I really want you guys to be as well. So I really, really would love to hear of you guys really trying to see this process through and create a finished product for your clients. Now, again, it does take time from yourselves, so I do understand why for some of you, if it's not your full-time business, you just may not want to do this. But do consider what works best for yourself and for your clients. Now, personally, I always try and talk my clients into getting albums for these reasons. And like I say, it'd be great if you guys do try and do this eventually as well. Okay, so I think essentially there's 3 different types of albums out there. Now, of course, there is hundreds of variations with them all and thousands of different suppliers. But today we're basically going to be looking at a traditional style album, matted albums, and magazine style albums. Okay, so firstly, just to look at the traditional or classic style of album. Now, these might be quite similar to what your parents may have had, or certainly what would have been the most common style of album, maybe up until about 15, 20 years ago. Generally, they might have a leather cover, maybe simple pages that you can just overlay the images onto. So you're literally pasting the images onto the page. And often they'll have interleaving, which is similar to tracing paper between the pages. Now, I've seen different versions that will literally have the same size image on every single page. And I've seen quite a few as well that might have a few images on the one page and some kind of variation within the layouts. But another very popular type of album now is the matted album. And these basically are actually, the images are placed behind mats. Now, I do consider there to be 2 types of these. There is the quite traditional style and a more contemporary style of matted album. And the one you can see on screen now, that is quite a contemporary style album. And what happens with these, basically the album suppliers will typically have a software that you can design the album yourself, and you can literally custom design your layout. So you might have one image on a page, Or if you wanted, you could fill it up with lots of images. You could always try and squeeze 10 to 20 images onto one page. You can have square shapes, rectangles, portraits, landscape, heaps and heaps and heaps of different design potential. And once you design your album, you send your order off to the album suppliers and they can custom cut out the mats based on your design. Now, in contrast to this, if you go with the more traditional type of album, it'll be something a bit more like this. And basically with these, again, you're going to have some options in terms of the layout, but it is definitely more limited. The big difference with these two types of albums would be their price. So like anything, if it's completely custom made, it will be more expensive. But really, you could be offering your clients a choice and simply explain the difference from them. So again, keep in mind, you do want to be offering your clients different options. They might really, really love the idea of having an album, but they might not have the budget for a high-end, completely custom-made album. So I do think it's nice to be able to offer them a range. So maybe have an entry-level album, maybe a mid-range album, and then a top-of-the-range album. And of course, you can have an unlimited amount of extras if you wish. But sometimes keeping it simpler certainly can be better. Lastly, we do have a magazine style album as well. Now, these ones are crazy popular these days. They're probably one of the most common ones out there. You'll hear them referred to as the magazine style album, maybe a coffee table book, lots and lots and lots of different names, basically depending on how they've been marketed. And you'll see hundreds of different suppliers doing all of these. They'll have heaps of variations in sizes, different formats, different covers. You can even choose different paper types as well. But the common features of these albums are that the actual images are your pages. So the images are printed and then they're bound into an album. And that basically means you can have an unlimited design potential. So you can literally have images going from edge to edge if you want. Now this particular example has the soft pages. So they bend and they fold like any other magazine would. Whereas in contrast, you can get something like this instead. So it's the hard pages that don't fold. And these are very popular for wedding albums as they do tend to be less susceptible to damage. And you can see with these ones as well, a lot of suppliers, they'll give you the option of binding that allows you to lay them flat like this. And that can be amazing in terms of design. So just think, if you have a beautiful panoramic image, if you wanted to go across 2 pages, it can have a really, really dramatic impact and it just looks really, really stunning. Now again, an important point with these modern style albums, you can design them yourself, and majority of album suppliers, they do have their own softwares, and these will actually generate a PDF that you can send on to your clients so they can approve the layout before you get anything printed, which is obviously going to be very, very useful. Now it does mean your clients, they will very often come back and request changes, which is absolutely fine so long as you are working this into your price. Again, keep in mind it does all take up your time. But certainly I find it's much, much better than them to come back requesting any changes once the album has been printed. Obviously that's a little bit of a nightmare if that happens. Now, one of the fantastic things about those magazine style albums is that once you have your design made up for the main album, you can literally get that reprinted by the suppliers as many times as your clients need, and you can get them done in a whole range of sizes. So they're literally a miniature replica of the wedding album, meaning there's no extra time designing or assembling second albums for parents. And I've literally seen these as small as 3 by 4 inches. Now, of course, you can get them even bigger if you do want. It really depends on what supplier you're using and obviously what options your clients may want. But they're actually really, really cute. I've seen a lot of couples do absolutely love them. And they love the idea of giving them as a gift to their parents or even the bridal party. And honestly, there's been a few times where I've shown clients an example of a sample album, and on the back page, the final page in the album, will be a photograph of the couple, and they'd have a chalkboard that says thank you. And basically, we've pre-arranged it before the wedding that we'll take this photograph, and then basically this image is displayed as a final image in the wedding album, which just acts as a little thank you for their bridal party or their parents. So again, that's been really, really popular, and it means your clients are actually already agreeing to buy these parent albums before they've even seen any wedding images, which is absolutely fantastic. It's really, really amazing to be at that point with your products and what you're selling. But okay, so look, here is a list of some of the really, really popular album suppliers. Now these guys are all international, and all of them, they will generally deliver to majority of countries. Now, I've regularly used a number of these even though I'm based in Ireland. And the benefit of these guys is that they do only supply professional photographers. So you will need to register with them. However, the great thing about that is your clients, they're not going to be able to get a price list from these guys. And so they're not going to know exactly how much the albums actually cost you. And these suppliers, they're also going to have their own album design software. So I know Jorgensen have JAD, Celdex have Photo Junction. Personally, I do find all of these quite handy because you're absolutely sure that the design you create will match up with what they send out to you. Now the softwares, they do take a bit of time and effort to get used to, but for the most part, they are set up to be quite easy and intuitive to use. Now, in saying that, if you use a number of different suppliers, you might end up with a lot of different softwares, but I've found most of these guys are now supplying both the modern matted album as well as a magazine style album, so you shouldn't have to go to too many different suppliers anymore. Now guys, at the end I have added in Etsy just because, you know, they don't necessarily do albums, but they're just amazing for heaps of different products. So I've seen some beautiful examples of DVD boxes or quite unique USB sticks and boxes. And honestly, they're just great for all things weddings. So even documents I've seen, like PDFs that you can buy of a sample package or a sample contract that you can then use, and that's been made up by a designer, and you can just kind of ask for your changes and then you have that and can work with that. So definitely great resource to always keep an eye on. Okay, so look, we'll talk about some of the extras you can be offering to your clients as well. And certainly by far, frames are an easy extra to offer to your clients. You know, most couples, they will want to get a few photographs up on their wall, whether or not it's family shots or even just a special one of the two of them together. And like your album, why shouldn't they be using professionals to get this done as well? Now you can of course be offering them discounts for bigger orders. Maybe you can come up with a frame package. Something quite simple, like maybe you offer them 2 family photos, one for each set of the parents and then one for the couple. Or you could go as far as offering them like a gold package, so maybe something like 7 frames or something like that. So basically could mean a frame for the couple, a frame for each set of parents, and maybe frames for each person in the bridal party. But look, again, you should be able to source a good local supplier who can offer you a range of different frames and different window mounts, and a really nice really nice extra for you to offer your clients is to get them to do a signature frame. So something like this. And this basically would have to be arranged before the wedding day. And the idea being that you can bring the frame and the mount without the glass to the wedding itself. You set it up on an easel like this, and then you invite all the guests to come up and to sign it. So it's a really nice alternative to a guest book, or indeed, I mean, it can complement a guest book as well. Now, in terms of the photo, it can be a great way to encourage them to do that engagement shoot. So then they can have a beautiful image of the two of them in the mount. And then, of course, you can offer to change the image later on to one from the wedding day itself. Canvas is another really popular option for clients. It's a really nice alternative to frames. And a lot of people, they do love the texture of the canvas. Now, there is literally thousands of places that will supply these, but I guarantee you, whoever you decide to use for your prints will most likely do these as well. Now, the example that I'm showing you on screen, it does have a little bit of a twist to it as well. We have the canvas with the image in the middle, but either side of the bride and groom together is their vows on canvas. And I loved that idea when I first seen it. If you're getting your clients to do something like this, well, then you're really encouraging them to get quite artistic and really create just beautiful wall art with your images. Now, I've seen plenty of examples where the vows or the lyrics from the first dance, they could be overlaid onto the actual image itself, and that can work really, really well too. Again, if you're doing the Photoshop course with us, that will teach you how to create image composites like that. But the idea of all of these type of things is that you're thinking out of the box for your clients. Now, they may never have seen something like this before, but it could get them really, really excited about getting something on their walls. Another alternative is to get the images printed as acrylic. Now, this can be a look that will really appeal to couples who have more modern taste. It's very clean looking, and you can really get quite creative with the designs. It doesn't have to be just, a piece with just one image. You could maybe do a grid with 9 images, or, whatever amount really. Now, in this case, we can see each image is nearly sitting on a block, which is sitting onto the acrylic background. Again, any supplier that you go to, they'll be able to talk you through all the different options that they have with acrylics. Each suppliers will have different options, but majority, of course, will be absolutely happy enough to accommodate any custom requests that you or your couple might have. They might just charge a little bit extra for it, but again, there's no reason why you can't pass that on to your clients. Now, I'm going to deviate just a little bit. Another option or another great extra that you could be doing for your couple would be to do a photo booth on the actual wedding day. So you could wait up until maybe after the meal to set this one up, and it can be a really fun way to capture some candid images, but you'll have all the guests actually coming to you, which makes it very, very handy and very easy. Now, you can offer to set it up, or you could simply supply the equipment. Maybe you supply backgrounds or props, or of course you could be standing there taking the shots for them all as well. It's certainly an absolutely perfect job to hand over to your second photographer. You can be doing it in a number of different ways. Of course, you can do it with your regular camera, or maybe they want to go for a Polaroid camera, just to go for that really vintage kind of retro look. Now, that is an expensive option, but certainly if you want to put it out there and let your clients make that decision. Now, you can even offer to make up the little photo boot album for the couple as well at the end, to include with their standard wedding album. Finally, I want to round the lesson up by giving you a few tips for finding suppliers. Personally, I do much prefer to use suppliers who generally only cater for professional photographers. Now, there's a few reasons for this. I really just don't want my clients knowing exactly how much albums actually cost. I mean, I don't like to have to justify why I'm charging for my time when it comes to all the additional Photoshop work and the design time. Now, I know plenty of people, they will say to me, but I can just go to my local supermarket and get an album done up there. They can get it all printed cheaper. But I really think majority of people, they do appreciate the quality is just absolutely not the same. But also, with your suppliers, if they're used to working with professionals, then they do understand the quality they need to be, and they're a lot more accommodating with working out any problems that may arise. They'll usually also offer color correcting, and they'll work with you to calibrate your screen to their printers. So that way the images that you're working on, they'll match what you see on your screen, will match what actually gets put into an album or prints. Very often they can offer additional services. They might offer retouching of your images or even designing of the albums. And you might just reach a point where you're just too busy to do this yourself. So it is great to know that you can pass this on to somebody else. And honestly, there will be cases as well where maybe, just because you're the photographer, it doesn't mean your retouching skills are going to be great. There are plenty of photographers that might struggle with this or just don't enjoy it, so don't be afraid to pass it on to somebody else if this is the case. It's definitely worthwhile talking to them about their turnaround times. I've used a lot of suppliers that were based in Australia, and I just love the qualities of their products. But the shipping to Ireland, it does add to the turnaround time and certainly to the cost as well. Now, if you can work it into your workflow and the expenses, well, then that's absolutely fine. But certainly, if there is suppliers closer to home, they're well worth looking into as well. You should always discuss whether or not you get discounts for sample products. You need to have samples to show your clients, otherwise they're just going to be less likely to buy. Now also, if you're sending a lot of repeat business to one supplier, are they going to give you a discount for this or for bulk buys? Watch out for trade shows. These are an absolutely fantastic way to keep up to date with new products, new services, and even new equipment that you may want to get. Now, I know there's a huge one that's always based in Birmingham every year. It's in the NEC. I think that stands for the National Exhibition Centre. But certainly, I know anybody that's within Europe and is seriously getting into photography, it's worth going over for the day trip and spending the day wandering around. Again, they do lots of different talks and different seminars, so there's an awful lot to be learned there as well. But you get to literally meet the suppliers face to face and have a good discussion about what it is you need or want. But look out. I know there's plenty in South Africa, and I'm sure all around the States as well, so always look out for any local trade shows. That would be very, very handy for you. Okay, so there it is, guys. That is it for lesson 8. So let me do my quick summary. Tonight we did look at presenting your work along with all the different product options that are out there. So from your albums, frames, canvases, and even those mini albums that you can be offering your clients. And we talked a little bit about just some tips for helping you select those best suppliers and working well with them. Well, look, guys, that is it for lesson 8 and even more so for the entire course. So look, guys, if you have any questions at all.
Hi everyone, William here again, the Head of Education here in Shaw Academy. Just wanted to quickly talk to you about your pathways with Shaw Academy, what you can do beyond this course. Now, for those of you who may have missed it in the last lesson, we did announce about a massive discount on our membership at the moment. It's up to 50% off for a very limited time. So if you want to upgrade and have access to every single course that we have here in Shaw Academy, be sure to get yourself signed up as soon as possible. But as well as having access to all the courses, there's a lot more that you can do here with Shaw Academy to achieve your goals. We have pathways for students to achieve success. And there's 2 types of pathways that you can take with us. We have what are called fast track pathways, which are designed to get you to your goals as quick as possible. Or because everybody's pathway is not the same, we also have personalized pathways. So let's quickly have a look at a fast track pathway first of all. So say, for example, you want to make the most out of marketing. You want to get yourself a qualification in marketing to help grow your business or to start a new business for yourself. We have a pathway designed to help you to achieve that. And this is just an example, but it'll start with your diploma in marketing. You move on to an advanced marketing course and then check out a social media marketing and a advanced social media marketing course too. And along the way, you're going to get 2 EQF level 5 qualifications, which would look brilliant on anybody's resume. We also have photography pathways to help you realize your dreams of being a photographer, our nutrition pathways, as well as many others. If you simply go to shawacademy.com, you'll find a list of pathways there on our homepage below the fold. However, you can create your own pathway as well. You have the ability to be able to take any course here in Shaw Academy as a member, so you can create your own road to success. So you might have an interest in nutrition, so you complete our nutrition courses. And you realize maybe you want to start a nutrition business for yourself, so you check out our digital marketing course. Then you might find from our digital marketing course that there's a gap in the market, so you want to develop a nutrition based app for yourself. But you need to promote that app, you need to grow leads for yourself, so you check out our social media marketing course. And then you're making a little bit of extra income for yourself, so you might decide that you want to invest that, and you check out our trading course to increase your profits even more. All of this leading to success. So you can create your own path with Shaw Academy, and we are there every step of the way to help you to realize your goals. Now, as I mentioned before, many of our courses are EQF level 5 courses. You can identify these as the professional diploma in courses, and you will see the EQF level 5 logo beside each course that is accredited. They are 4 modules long, and all must be completed to gain your level 5 professional diploma. And this is an internationally recognized qualification and will substantially increase your employability or help you to generate more clients if you are out there on your own. So remember, with this membership, you're going to have access to all of the courses. You're going to have exclusive content for members only. You're going to have level 5 qualifications. You're also going to have premium student support, and you have uninterrupted flexible learning. You can learn in your own way and create your own path. Do remember that this really is only for a limited time. So upgrade today to start enjoying the benefits of membership straight away. I'll just bring up those prices for you once again. So that Shaw Academy membership, that discount is only available for a very limited time. The 12-month option is our best value option, and as I mentioned before, will give you plenty of time to complete those level 5 courses. But there's plenty of other options out there to suit every pocket. It is available in over 30 different currencies. So thank you once again for your time in allowing me to bring this special offer to you. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to us at support@shawacademy.com. Thank you once again, and goodbye for now.